Blah 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 blah. Oh wait, actually that reminds me. That game I was talking to you about, it was Code Vein. They were showing like more. They actually showed like little bits and like screenshots of like the actual game itself.
Code Vein.
Code Vein, and it showed it more kind of like an anime Dark Souls-esque game.
Damn it! Trailer?
It's not a trailer. It was just like a bunch of like screenshots of the game, just showing like the UI and everything like that. Just showing you what can you expect from this game, because I never really heard too much
There's
about
17 minutes of gameplay.
Of Dark Souls gameplay.
Gameplay.
It's essentially what it is. Yeah, it's a Dark Souls-esque game. I was like, whoa.
Looks very anime. Is it multiplayer?
Yeah, it's guess so, yeah. So it's like an anime-esque multiplayer game. But yeah, I only just saw like designs of the game where it's like it usually emphasis on like just dark brooding characters like with masks and stuff like that, but they have like otherworldly like abilities. But by the looks of this, it looks like just the anime-esque Dark Souls where you're carrying your weapon, you have like these very tough like enemies like that are just wandering around the map.
That you kill in 5 hits. But
kill in 5 hits. Well, I guess so.
Could you imagine like a multiplayer gameplay where the fighting combat is kind of akin to Final Fantasy 15? Where you have like the phasing dodge that you can just do at will?
Well, don't they do have like the multiplayer thing with Final Fantasy, but it's just, you know.
Well, I know they have.
It's just yeah.
Is it more turn based, or is it like the?
It's like live
gameplay?
It's like the actual gameplay. It's not turn based. So,
because I'm trying to think, I'm like, it would definitely take a lot of skill and patience to be able to counter such an overpowered ability that phase dodge actually has, and to beat the kind of boss that I'm talking about, you would need that kind of skill that would even outclass overpowered abilities, where it's just, you got good, son.
I don't know. It's also a weird thing where, like, if you want an extremely difficult game like that, it could also discourage, like, players, but there is definitely a niche audience for that.
Look at Dark Souls.
Yeah.
And the thing is, a lot of the game is a lot of, like, leveling up, a lot of grinding and whatnot, where... It's very Final. I would like it to be very Final Fantasy, and where it's like, well, you level up, you get stronger, you hit harder and whatnot, and then you get these items and power ups and all this. And the only real hard part is just the final boss, where it's just like, it's so hard, and then the game ends, and it's like the whole game was leading to my demise. And I want the story to kind of drive it home the whole way there, where it's like, you're not a chosen one. You're not like the almighty being that's here to save us. It's you're someone who's tired of it all. The world's been under the rule of this guy for so long, and so you're like, well, someone has to do something. You're just the first person to speak out against what's going on.
But there's a reason for that.
Yeah, you're the first, and you're not the last, because you'd have to keep playing the game and keep playing the game and keep dying and keep dying and keep losing and keep getting the normal end screen, because there's definitely people out there that fight impossible bosses and win, and they're like, oh crap, they actually are beatable. Like in Bloodborne, that first werewolf that you fight, for the longest he was perceived as an impossible being to beat just because you have like no weapons or abilities. But someone played the shit out of it and said, no, he can die. I killed him. You're not doing 0 damage. You're just doing not a lot of damage.
There's definitely the unbeatable like first encounter, in which case it's supposed to teach you a lesson, like a la like Mega Man X. You face against Vile, and it's like, oh no, he's supposed to act as like an unstoppable force, and like it's supposed to teach you something, like with Zero like coming in there with his charge shot that you can totally do, and stuff like that. But yeah, so I don't know. I know that we want to start this topic based on the idea that you're fighting like the impossible thing. Was it Dark Souls 2? Oh no, sorry, that was just like a little annotation there.
Yeah, for his dark. God damn.
Okay, so in Bloodborne, you start off as just like a regular human, right?
Yeah, you start off as a human, and you fight a werewolf.
So what happens if you beat the beast?
I forget. But yeah, if you beat it,
you beat the game.
Like you still, I think it still counts you as like, oh, you die.
I guess that's actually a pretty good like mechanic, showing that like it's hard, but you can do it. But a lot of people will die, but they already like circumvent that, where it's like, oh, okay, you were meant to die.
Yeah.
To kind of introduce you to like the whole idea of like being like those huntspeople.
Mm-hmm. And then see, it does its opening thing. Like, you're supposed to die at the beginning of Bloodborne.
It's like,
and so people are like, oh, well, it's an impossible guy that you just kind of fight and he beats you, and that's the game.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to kind of build it into that type of universe to where it's like, where you're gonna fight him and you're gonna fight your heart out, but he's just so strong that even your most isn't enough, and then the game ends. It's like, oh, damn, I couldn't beat him.
Right. But then, like, a lot of people wouldn't be satisfied with that. It's like, there's no game that's like this. Let's see if I can keep doing that.
Yeah.
And so they'll just keep trying and trying. They'll read movements.
I feel that there has been games to where it's like, you can do your damnedest, and even if at the end of the game you win, the cutscene is still, well, the world ends in the end because it was just meant to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would very much like it to be like, oh, well, I lose, but there's a cutscene, and that's how it says the world continues on.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's it. And it's meant to discourage.
Right.
It's meant to break you down and make you at least satisfied with the ending. And then it'll be like, oh, well, there will always be another to try.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, oh, there's always going to be another. Maybe someone does win.
Mm-hmm.
And then you try
again.
And you win.
What kind of game would you want to... what kind of genre of game would you implement this impossible difficulty on? Because we got, like, Dark Souls doing that.
Yeah.
And, well, I guess that's... I mean, the idea of, like, an RPG being able to do that, that's also an open window. But, like, I mean, there's other games that you could probably implement this, too, in different ways, like, even platforming.
I definitely want it to be, like, a very sword and shield-esque type game. Because with guns, there's only so much you could do with an RPG element in a shooter.
Okay.
Just because there's always the preconceived notion that I and a lot of people have, which is if you put a bullet in someone's head, they should die.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, a damage scale around that, it's going to be weird.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have a bunch of humanoid enemies and you shoot them in the head, it would have to do infinite damage. That way, no matter what level they are and what level you are, it kills them. But then that breaks the game because you can just go fight the highest level humanoid thing that you could find, shoot in the head, and, well, you just gained all the experience for killing such a high level thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it definitely has to be a sword and shield type game.
Maybe it should be like a game that you don't necessarily level up in. Like, there's no level up skill. It's just like you just get good weapons. But it's not like, oh, you can find like sacred blood sword in this area. Yeah, take it before you go fight that boss.
Yeah, end all be all weapon.
It's maybe you can even consider it like, oh, enemy die, I take its sword. That's how we do it.
Yeah, that could work. Definitely a lot of like more, it's your skill more than the preconceived stat boosts of things that I would prefer. Like like a wide range of weapons to where it's not like stats for this and stats for that. It's more there's definitely stats for them, like, oh, it does this much damage, it's this attack speed and all that, but it's never outright written. It's more, well, it feels faster and I feel like I'm doing more damage. And then I like the look of it too. I don't want it to be like, oh, well, I'm gonna hunt down this weapon and get this and it's gonna just be the end all be all god weapon of the game. It definitely want to be like more variety to where it's based around your fight style and the way that you play. But there's definitely things that you want to add to it, like more hit points. Like as you grow in skill, so does your vitality to just take on the bullshit of the world.
I say it would have to be like a mix of like HP and stamina. I think stamina just makes sense if you have the endurance to do like certain tasks and stuff like that. HP can be kind of weird.
I think HP should definitely be based around vitality that you gain through combat. Okay. Where it's both just the number of encounters that you've had the time that you spent in encounters. So the time that's spent from battle start to battle end, but also the amount of damage that you take and recover from.
But then that can be difficult too, because you can see people who want to like try to like get to that like high vitality, like,
oh yeah, and I would love them to grind. To grind and just get healthier and healthier and just bolster their character to just, well, I'm going to take all these shots, walk through, hey, push you out of the way, la-di-da-da-da-da-da. Just like I would like someone to increase their stamina through actual like physical acts, run here, run there, climb this ladder, jump this, jump that. Kind of like how the old Elder Scrolls games were, where you had an aerobic stat, and your aerobic stat increased naturally through how much you ran, swam, and jumped. The more you did of those, your aerobics would level up. So I would like something like that in terms of your stamina, to where the more you actually physically use your character, the higher their stamina will be, so that they can go longer in fights. But I definitely want it to be something that scales with the game. Like, if you were to play the game naturally, there definitely have to be times where you take breaks and kind of fight the same level enemies for a while, but you can definitely move up the ladder to fight something stronger. But it would definitely take time that would spend as if you were just playing the game normally.
Okay.
Instead of like, well, I'm just going to keep fighting this low level guy and eventually I'll get it, because eventually you will. But it'd be more beneficial for you to not just grind, but to actually go through the game.
Yeah.
Because the time it'll take you to get there is going to take a lot less time than if you just grind. Sure, you won't die as much.
Or you could also scale it based on like how much like experience that these guys give you versus like going and actually fighting like the big dude. Like you'll see like a dramatic increase like in stats based on like just fighting the big dude versus like all these little guys who will just like give like say 1 versus like get 12.
And that's why I said like your vitality is based off of how long the combat lasts. So yeah, you could start combat with some little lowly slime monster and you could just wait and slowly your vitality will increase because technically you're in a fight. But it's going to take a long time for it to increase that way. The best way to actually increase your vitality is to take damage and recover. And it'll be through percentage of health instead of total numbers taken. Okay. So yeah, you'll fight that slime and it'll do damage, but when your vitality is like 1,000 and it's only doing 1 hit point, that's 0.1% of quote unquote experience that you're getting for your vitality. As opposed to, well, I'm going to fight this dude who's at roughly the same level as me, and wow, he hit me, I lost half my health, but I'll heal and I'll come back stronger. For that which does not kill me only makes me stronger.
I mean, this all sounds like fair and good. I think that it should be like a sword and shield type of game. Maybe like increase the range of like weapons you can even have. Like very much like
you could have
Dark Souls.
Yeah, like maces, hammers, war axes, dual wield, bows and arrows, a wide range of weapons that kind of make sense in the world that it's in. But like the main point I meant by sword and shield was just like, oh, the time of medieval, and medieval weaponry, less gun, more action. Okay,
and then as far as the perspective, third person seems to be good. You can do first person.
Yeah, third person would definitely be the default. If you were a complete fucking psychopath, you could play first person because it's definitely a game where you want to see your environment. But yeah, just something to where you build into it and you feel like every action you take is actually worthwhile.
I think a nice perspective would be like the third person overhead perspective. I think I kind of like that aesthetic for like a really difficult game. It has almost a classic. Well, I guess it depends on like how your character are sprited as, but just like have it like feel classic and give it like a super difficulty to it, but it's like it's almost like Final Fantasy where it's like it's an overhead shot, almost like Link to a Past. So it's I like that idea where it's like you see everything, but it's like that's super hard.
Because I don't want it to be a Bloodborne or a Dark Souls game to where it's like, oh man, it's gonna take me a month and a half to learn all the secrets to all these guys to actually get them. I want it to feel where it's like, oh man, I've played enough and I can just mow through people because my stats are high. Okay. And then when you're fighting someone of equal caliber, it feels like a good fight. It doesn't feel like, well, they beat me because the game's a fucking bastard, man. So I want it to feel like a mid-range level game to where a dedicated casual player can definitely get into it, and a hardcore player won't feel like it's pushing them to the brink. Okay. I want that to come at the end to where, like I said, the final boss is a quote-unquote invincible boss that is meant to just be the wall at the end of the game. It's going to take all of your muster to break through the wall. The fourth wall, if you will.
It's a metaphor.
It's a metaphor.
It's a metaphor. So like once you beat the game, or not even beat the game, when you beat that boss, you'll feel so much more accomplished. But you'll be super tired. And like, man, I want to jump back into that game. That's where you get them. That's where you hook, line, sink. It's like, I gotta play more. There's more to it now. I'm this much stronger. What's stronger than me? And then the next slime you come across, damn dude, let's start over.
And then it opens up that extra menu on the what's it called? On the main menu. There's a multiplayer to this.
There's a multiplayer.
You hop in and you realize there's no one else on the server. But why? And then it dawns on you. No one's beaten the game. I am the first. I will wait.
I will wait. With my slime friends. You arrived. Come forth, and we shall do battle. So what happens to the person who dies, though? Is it like, or
they just didn't dethrone him? But there'll definitely be like a recovery time.
Okay.
It won't be just like, oh well, I respawn, so I'm coming for you again.
Right.
It'll definitely be like, because I don't want it to be like I want it to feel like a penalty, but I don't want it to discourage trying again. Where it's like, oh man, I have to wait a week before I can actually hop back in. But I don't want it to be like, all right, I died, 5-second respawn, ready to go. I wanted to give it time to where, like, if you fought him, he'll definitely have enough time to fight a few other people, but still be able to recover. So I was thinking, something like a day-long respawn.
A day-long respawn.
Yeah.
But you also have to consider that that ruler now also has school, so it can't always be there.
He can't always be there. And during that time, everyone else on the multiplayer server can fight each other.
Okay.
You fight each other, you as well as like what's going on in the world, and you get stronger and stronger. And while they're not playing, you're passing them in strength. You're honing your skills.
Until he pops up like, Hashirama! I have no time for you now. I have my next duel.
Hashirama!
None. Not for you today.
I want it to be a Mamoru Uchiha type fight.
It's like nothing amuses me except for you, Hashirama. I want you to die by my hands. Oh, okay. I thought that. Okay, let's fight then.
Like it feels like you're just an average Joe guy trying to take on Naruto. That's what I want the mid-game boss to feel like. But if you do, I want you to feel like you're Mamoru Uchiha, mowing down everyone else who tries to dethrone you.
I guess different like fighting like swings and stuff like that. It can't just be like default. Like everyone has a horizontal. Everyone has like a side thing because people will just pick that up. Like okay, there's like 13 frames of like your super attack. It's like, okay.
Here's the thing. I encourage frame counting. Because frame counting is how you beat the boss in the first place. Like I said, it's going to take the upper echelon of people to even enter multiplayer. I want it to be the gods of this game fighting amongst each other for who gets to be Zeus.
I mean, there's Smash Brothers, but there's also like, well, I guess we won't really make it into this, like Dark Souls and Bloodborne, where it's like those swings can be like really heavy, and there's definitely different types of weapons and stuff like that.
Yeah, I want because I definitely want it to be where weapon choice definitely matters. Like your character's fighting style changes depending on what weapon they have. A hammer is going to be slower but hit harder, as well as if it's two-handed, you can definitely block effectively with it. not as effectively as with like a shield, but you can definitely block single weapon strikes. Mm-hmm. So if someone comes at you with a sword and shield, if they strike you with your sword, if you block with your two-handed weapon, it'll be an effective block. But if you try and block with a two-handed weapon against a two-handed weapon, it's still going to do quite a bit of damage because you're still going to feel that weight. Mm-hmm. And same thing, like if you have a sword and shield, if someone hits your shield with a two-handed weapon, it's still going to hurt.
Yeah. Okay. So,
I want it to feel balanced, but definitely feel like there's a strong advantage for one, but I want it to kind of be like a rock, paper, scissors-esque.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay, I see what you mean.
But one of them stupid freaking rock, paper, scissors, dragon lizard things. Like, I'll show you a picture right now of, like, how complicated I want this thing to be.
Oh, wow.
Where, yeah, something definitely beats something. Mm-hmm. But something definitely beats you as well. It's a never-ending circle of, well, I can beat you, and I can beat you. Well, I'll beat you.
I can beat you too. If I can beat you, so shut up.
And the differences won't be just black and white. It'll definitely come down to user skill as well. Mm-hmm. Where, let's narrow it down to rock, paper, scissors. Where someone with scissors can still beat rock if they're just better.
I mean, that's kind of like, that's Pokemon, really. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, you can't beat my Onix. I think my level 30 Charmeleon could say something else.
Yeah. But it won't come down to level, it'll just come down to natural skill.
Yeah.
And so I think that would be the hard part, is being able to make combat dynamic enough to where your skill is definitely the prevailing factor, mm-hmm. but simple enough to where someone who just wants to pick up the game and play through the story can pick up the game and play through the story without being bogged down by how to fight.
It has to be a game for sure that isn't blocked off by like the number of like defensive like points that you got, mm-hmm. or the enemy has, to a point where it's like you literally can't do damage, but it should be at least like, I can do one.
Yeah.
Just keep doing that.
And with it, I want there to definitely be like hit points and all that. Mm-hmm. There's no health bar. Uh-oh. It don't tell you how much your damage you're doing, how much health they have left. That's the key point behind the invincible boss. It's just like, I don't even know if I'm doing damage to it, man. I've been hitting it for the past 6. Oh, it's dead. I'm trying to think, like, what would be a good, like, god character? Just
a god character?
Yeah.
For the game, it depends on, like, the genre or the theme. Mm-hmm. It's medieval, so it could just literally be a dragon.
Yeah, I was thinking that, but I'm like, if it's a dragon, even dragons are known to be killed with enough hits. I want it to be something where it's like,
you're not sure.
Yeah, something where it gets the same feeling as Cthulhu, where Cthulhu's more the idea of inevitable.
Oh, okay.
I want it to be more of a concept enemy than a concrete enemy.
Then maybe some kind of like apparition, a spirit, mm-hmm. where you slash at and you're like, I'm just slashing through like either some kind of cloak or like just some like empty air, but there's someone like there for sure. I'm not sure if I'm doing damage or not. It's just, I feel whenever he hits me. Mm-hmm. So why don't I feel it when I hit him? Could be that. That might be a little bit too abstract.
Probably something along the lines like an Atronach.
Oh yeah? Mm-hmm. Where it's, okay.
Where it's more of a being of nature than flesh and bone.
Okay. So, yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
So,
because I think that's one thing that, like, the Elder Scrolls and their thing got really wrong, is, like, Atronachs are made of nature, and they're pretty damn weak. Like, I've seen a dragon blow fire on this mountain, and the mountain didn't die. How's this bundle of rocks dying from being fire breathed on it? Because I want it to be something solid. I don't want it to be ethereal, because then it's like, oh, well,
I'm not sure.
How did I hit it? Because I do want it to be a bit based in natural law. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's
a lot of planning. Just like on everyone's part, really. You got like the lead designer, and you also have like level designers. You also have like animation group over there. Mm-hmm. Just everything's like needs to be in line. Everyone needs to be talking about like how things work and interact to make it work.
I think one thing where combat could feel more skill based than like counting frames is fluid attacking.
Fluid attacking. So it's
where instead of like, oh, well, you dodge left and then your feet have to be planted and then you strike. I would like it to where as you're dodging, you can still hit.
Oh yeah, what's a game that can do that? Something that they do really fluidly is like some of the Jedi games back in the old days, where it's like Jedi Outcasts, where you can literally just like be like walk, and you be like walking in the same direction. You're still like wailing on this dude, and you're like, so something as fluid as that.
Yeah. Whereas like, I did a roll, but at the end of my roll, I could already be slashing at you with the momentum of the roll.
Yeah.
And that'll add a little bit of more damage to you. So I'm just like, man, it'd be cool, but it'd be a lot of work.
You gotta think about all the situations you can find yourself. You can be like, you can be flying in midair, but then there's like enemy you want to just like take a swipe at just in case.
Like when you recoil from damage or you get tossed off a ledge, if it's an unexpected like force of momentum, I would like it to where there's like a recovery time, to where it's like, oh, I got kicked, but I'm gonna attack now. I want it to be like, I got kicked, I have to get my bearings back and like get my head right. You're like, what's going on right now? And
I also like the idea of like a momentum attack, just like by like just your physical body, because I think it's like kind of bull when you run up to an enemy or you get like tossed at an enemy and they don't feel it, but you certainly feel it.
Yeah.
So I feel like you should use your body as damage too, if needed.
I think that would be the hardest part, because you'd have to be able to,
it's kind of idea of
make up for like actually things hitting you. Like I keep bringing it up. The Oblivion series. I keep saying Oblivion. Elder Scrolls. Such a long name.
Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
With Atronox.
Yeah. Skyrim. You ever been walking through a dungeon, you step over a bucket, and then the bucket decides to go AWOL and do a shit ton of damage to you?
Yeah.
Because technically it's a fast-moving object. It's like, I'd rather not have that happen, but I definitely want to be like, oh, someone chucked a boulder at me. God damn, I almost died.
Or it's like that big old rock in the road, and you're thinking like, I could probably just jump over it, and then you like sprain your ankle.
Being thrown at someone should definitely hurt them. I would think being thrown at someone should hurt them a little bit more than it would hurt you, since you're exerting more force upon them than their body can like counteract.
It depends on the being. We're dealing with Atronox, so maybe
with an Atronox, but like say you're on like the online server and you get tossed by the new Madara. You get tossed and you hit your buddy, you're gonna do a lot of damage to him as opposed to you receiving a lot of damage. But I think if someone like blocks with their character and their character braces for it, it would hurt you a lot and not so much them, because they were prepped for it. Yeah. But if it, again, like I said, like a unexpected force of momentum, then it's a cool idea to talk about.
It's straining for sure. I'm drained right now. We're supposed to do Skyrim, but I'm so slept. It's an interesting idea. It's just that it gets to a point where it's like, I think that's everything I want to talk about. Yeah, maybe there is. No, but I already got across my main point. I don't know anymore. It's where you really elaborate on this idea. It's kind of like how Monty's like trying out, like, hey, I got this anime, all right? It's called Ruby. I think there will be a game like that, but it won't be out for a while. In fact, I think there'll be a lot more arguments against something like that. But at the same time, there's also like the existence of Dark Souls and even like Dark Souls-esque games, copycats, if you will, like it, that are like super difficult, but they're also forgiving in their own way. So maybe you're not too far off like the mark here. Maybe we can even see this one like maybe even later this year or even the following year. There's like, ever since Dark Souls came out, it does seem like there's a possibility for like the next impossible game, but it's impossible in a fair way.
And that's pretty much why I said I don't want like the main point of the game to be really hard. I just want it to end on a wall. And it plays out like that's just the way it is. You were and that's why I said you're not some god character, some chosen one who's there to break the prophecy. You're just someone who's fed up. You're tired of the bullshit and you decided to try something. And the whole game, it's people telling you, don't, no, he's going to kill you. You'll have your small band of friends like, you can do it, man. But for the most part, everyone's like, people have tried. No one's done it. You're no different. I've heard the story a million times. And you stand before them like, I am different. I'll show them. Roll credits. and it's just a dead ass you.
Try to open up another Internet Explorer browser.
What's it called? You know what game did that really, really well?
What?
A game already did that.
What was that?
Halo Reach.
Oh, yeah.
It ends on a wall.
And it's
an insurmountable enemy that you cannot beat. No matter how hard you try, no matter what you do, you die.
But that's also unfair, too, because it's not one enemy. It's just an onslaught of enemies.
Mm-hmm.
You're facing against an army, in which case, like, you can last for as long as you want. It's still inevitable. You're gonna die. It's... What's the word? It's scripted. You're supposed to die because, like, there's another trilogy, like, waiting for the chief to wake up and be the savior. Otherwise, you might as well have been the savior in the game.
Well, the thing is,
the
chief is different because he had, well, quote-unquote, luck. And that makes sense because he's not the only one from his Spartan program.
Mm-hmm.
They just all died.
I guess so, but, like, he's also, like, quoted as, like, probably, like, one of the best in the best, right? Even, like, within his own, I guess, form?
He was gifted. He was very gifted and very talented, but at the end of the day, he's lucky.
He's lucky, I guess.
He had the luck of being controlled by you.
I guess so.
Otherwise, he's just another name.
But that's like literally anyone else, though. But like what you're feeding me is different in that sense. Like, sure, everyone is different, but not all of them are willing to go the extra mile just to do this. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So
because even what's it called? Getting over it.
I mean,
the whole point of that game is to make people not want to play the game. Say, fuck it, I'm done. This is a load of bullshit. You're not meant to win. And then there's a select few that keep going, and they're awarded with a golden cauldron.
Was it okay?
Or whatever the bonus at the end of the game is. I just saw a thumbnail for a golden cauldron. I'm like, oh, that's what you get for beating the game.
I mean, in that case, there's several like very hard games. They don't really yield much for you, except for like maybe like a status.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's kind of everywhere.
Yeah, and then, at least with this, you actually get a tangible reward, and that's being part of a multiplayer that may or may not populate itself. And if it never does, you know, I'm the captain.
Well, actually, now you mention it, like literally all battle royales are like this, or at least the ones that are now here, like PUBG. Fortnite, whatever foreign battle royale game there is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everyone starts on a clean slate, right? Every single time, but the difference is the experience.
Yeah, it's your skill against everybody else's.
Right, so...
The only difference with this is you don't get... It's you against the game, and then if you can outwit the game, then you fight people that are only as good as you.
I guess so, yeah. So, it's like an extra layer there.
Yeah.
So, like, it's like... Is there actually a question like on Fortnite and everything like that? Is there like a separate server too for like people who like say for example bought what? Like people who actually like bought like the extra stuff like the deluxe edition, you get like extra armor sets and stuff like that. Like, oh really? And you still play on the same people. Cool, I get to crush their skulls and
nope, everything's the same.
Everyone's like playing on equal like playing field.
Yeah.
But I mean skill.
Yeah. Everyone plays on the same game because there's no difference in weapons or armor or anything. Like, it's all cosmetic. The only difference is how good are you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm like, that's what I'm saying.
Maybe
you ever have times when you're playing a game, you're like, and you hop online, you're like, God, everyone sucks.
Well, sure.
Or it feels like, oh, well, my team is so bad and the other team's just so good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with this, everyone's good.
Everyone's good.
Yeah. Think of it like it's more of a wall, kind of like anyone can play League of Legends, Anyone can play that. Not everyone can play esports League of Legends. And that's the wall. The wall between, well, I just play the game because it was a good game, and then I play the game because I'm the captain.
In that case, there's a lot of games that implement this. There, that upper echelon of people who are like kind of even Smash Brothers, for instance, in a sense, where you can be anyone with any character. It just depends on like how well you can play against someone. There's definitely counters though. People who have like a character that they don't do well against. So I mean, there's that aspect of it. Otherwise, and
even then, even if your character is not good against them, if you're good enough, you could still beat them.
Yeah,
it just requires a lot more work. And that's what I'm saying. It's rock, paper, scissors with the weapons. Okay. And there's a lot of weapons.
So now it seems like we're kind of diving into like almost like the MLGs now, where it's like it's an actual sport to see like who's king at the very end, who can like hold the crown for as long as they can. So it is,
and that's kind of what it'll be. You have the online thing, and if assuming that I would just call it the king. Assuming that the king is online, you can challenge them. The king cannot refuse a one-on-one challenge. So if you want to challenge him one-on-one, if he's online and playing, then he has to fight.
Yeah.
However, and then if you want to fight him, but someone's already fighting him, it just makes a queue, I guess.
I guess so.
But say you and your buddies want to take him on, he can say yes or no to it. If he really wants to be Billy Badass and like, bring all you want. Then yeah, you could say, yeah, I'll fight 2 or 3 or 4. Pretty much up to his discretion how many people he wants to wreck or get wrecked by. Where he's just standing in a circle of dudes stomping his ass. I made a mistake!
So, but then within that, it would have to be a battle royale against like you and like 5 other friends. It's like only one could be king.
Yeah, and then at that point it's only one of us can win. It's very much when you decide to team on PUBG in a solo match.
Yeah.
Where it's like, all right, we made it to the end. Don't make me do it, man.
So
there can only be one.
There can only be one, my boy. Let me shoot you. No, I'm gonna shoot you first.
All right, here's the plan. Take 10 paces, turn and shoot. All right. 1, 2. I'm king.
I make history happen.
I'll tell the story that we took our 10 paces.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm good.
You can build alliances and end them in a heartbeat. Or lack thereof. But yeah, I think I've talked your ear off enough about my crazy game idea.
Alright, in that case, we'll end here. It's an interesting idea. It does it kind of bridges the idea of like casual gaming versus like hardcore gaming a lot smoother. Cause it really redefines the idea of like trying. Cause you'll see people and you're like, oh,
there's actually really a game that does implement like an impossible boss. That's one of the Dragon Ball Z games. It never gives an idea of like, oh, if you beat this guy, you get more. Because it tells the story of like, the Dragon Ball Z sagas.
Yeah. And
one point you're Goku fighting Raditz. When you fight him for the first time, you're supposed to lose. You have to lose. The story demands that you lose so that you can die and get stronger and talk to King Kai and all that. And so it makes Raditz damn near impossible to beat. But you can still beat him. And if you beat him, it changes the timeline of the game.
Whoa.
It adds a new aspect to the Dragon Ball Z story. Where you knock him out and Raditz wakes up and he explains everything and you guys decide to work together to become stronger, and he starts becoming good and whatnot, and then he's like, oh crap, Vegeta and Nappa are coming because I haven't checked in, so they're gonna check this out, and he flies off into space to hold them off and dies.
Wow.
So the history of Dragon Ball Z will still correct itself,
right?
But there's always that point where it's like, man, everything changed because I was better. The game thought I was only so good, and I was better. Yeah.
All right. All right, we'll end it here. So thank you guys so much for taking a listen on this one. If you guys want to just like know what else we're gonna be discussing, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. Also hit the bell button just to know when we upload discussions, like or any other video you might be interested in. And also support our Patreon. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. #bye everyone.
Oh, and if Justin allows me to kind of like download throw it on my channel, if you guys are watching, you guys heard me rant and rave for I don't know, like 45 minutes, I think, about shit that you probably don't care about. So subscribe, I guess. Check out Justin's channel. Check out my Discord and maybe my Patreon or something. I don't know.
All right.
Do whatever you feel like, man. I don't know. All right.
Okay. See you then. See you guys later. #bye.